So,
speaking of which, as far as the medical marijuana, where are we now as far as what you've heard? The governor was on yesterday. Didn't get any inclination as a special session. I think what he said was that both sides are almost there, but there are some things that need to be worked out.
Well, first of all, let me commend Lee Yancey on my end of the building for taking the lead on this and working to try to get a bill together. It is our belief that we are in agreement on a bill. We are in the process of talking to our members to make sure that they're in agreement with the bill. That
we'll cut through the chase here. You don't. Do you think the House or Senate just doesn't have not enough people to vote yes on this yet?
Oh no, I think we do.
Do you?
I think we do.
You think the Senate has enough to vote yes?
Well, it's been represented to me that they do.
Mm-hmm. Then what's the holdup?
There's no holdup. I mean, the lieutenant governor's out of town yesterday. I think he's coming back today. So my plan is to get together with him and make sure that we have finally come to an agreement, and then we are ready to, if that is the case, we would be ready to inform the governor that we have an agreement on the bill and would be ready to move with a special session.
I think the people of the state would be interested in knowing what it looks like. Is there somewhere we could read the bill, or is it?
As of when I left the office yesterday, it had not yet been finally drafted. Mm-hmm. At least that was my understanding. I think they were waiting on the final few revisions that had been made.
You think it is comparable to the Senate bill?
Well, that is the bill. We only have one bill.
Okay, so in other words,
there's no separate House bill.
So when the Senate is session is called, we're going to be dealing with
just have one bill. Yeah. So it'll be a Senate bill. They'll pass it, send it over to us.
So there's no need to go to conference on it.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. Now, you know how the process works. You can always, you never know what's going to happen on the floor. Somebody may amend the bill. It may come over, and we may, between now and then, find something that needs to be changed or tweaked, and we'll do that.
Let me ask you something about the bill, and yes or no's, or just explain a little bit. How about smoking? It's
allowed.
It is allowed for. Explain a little bit on that.
Well, all of this, of course, is medical, so it's in the judgment of the doctor. The doctor would prescribe what type.
It doesn't really matter exactly. Whatever the doctor says.
Whatever the doctor says, that's correct.
Is the potency addressed in here?
It is. I had a one-pager. I was going to bring it. My computer didn't work this morning. I mean, my printer didn't work this morning.
Does it mirror
operating.
Maybe the potency of let's say, Alabama or some other place? Or?
I don't know, Paul. You'll have to. I would say Lee Yancey's the expert on this. As far as the details of the bill, I think you'd have to ask him. I would say yes, but don't hold me to that.
As far as
I know, the Alabama bill was a road map that was used.
As far as municipalities being able to opt out,
they can opt out. They have 60 days from the passage of the bill to opt out, and that would be the city alderman or the county supervisors even could vote to opt out within 60 days. If the citizens wish to put it to a vote, then they could go forward with a referendum.
Very good.
If they got enough signatures and put it to a vote of the people.
What is
and let me say this: even if a city opts out today, they can always opt in sometime in the future if they change their mind. Right?
Is there a period in between those elections that they can do that, or?
I think they can opt in or opt back in whenever they choose to.
But the zoning laws would be incorporated into that opt out one way or the other. Will the grow indoors, outdoors? Has that been addressed?
It would have to be indoors.
It's going to be indoors.
Yeah.
What's the tax base on this one look like?
That was up for discussion as late as Wednesday. What's today? Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. It would be subject, obviously, to the general sales tax, and then there's an excise tax on top of that.
You know how much that is?
I don't, off the top of my head. It's. I will tell you, there's continued discussions about that, but I don't recall.
The Ag Department would be in charge of part of that?
Yes, sir. The growing, the supervision of the growing would be Department of Ag. Department of Health, of course, is the main umbrella. But the Department of Ag can subcontract those responsibilities out to someone else if they choose.
They can do that. So we're not going to be setting up a cannabis commission. It'll be handled through
no,
the
sir, no
existing
commission.
agencies.
That was one of the discussions, and there is no commission in the bill.
Anything else in there that you felt like was needed to be put in?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I think you've hit all the top issues that have been points of discussion.
The out-of-town growers, or any of that addressed?
There are some provisions in there that, and I don't want to misspeak here because I'm not an expert on that, but I do recall that there was something in there about you have to be a Mississippi resident for 3 years or something like that.
Was the way this was packaged in candy form, was that addressed? Because some of these things that we bring in...
Yes, there are provisions in there, as I recall, that I have actually seen, you may have too, some of the ways that this stuff is packaged to be...
It's disturbing.
It's very enticing to children. It looks like Skittles or M&Ms or anything else.
If you're doing a lollipop, this could be a lollipop, and
there are provisions in the bill that prohibit packaging that would be misleading. I mean, it's medical, so you got to have a medical card. You got to go see a doctor, and the doctor has to prescribe it. And that's...
Would a physician out of state be able to get a license in the state, and even though they're
I don't recall if that's addressed. I do know there are provisions for non-residents. So your Aunt Sally comes to visit you for the weekend, and Aunt Sally has a medical marijuana card from another state. There are provisions in there that would allow her to go and get marijuana if she needs it while she's here. Yeah,
I got you. All right, I think we covered that pretty good. There's some other things.
Let me give a disclaimer. Yeah. If you want to know in great detail, you need to talk to Lee Yancey.
I'll call him as soon as we get off. It is Speaker of the House Philip Gunn.
Don't hold me to anything that I may have said.
So folks, all that you've just heard is subject to change when we talk to
I'm a lawyer. There's